had many conversations about justice reform, both in Parliament, at the Council of Ministers, yesterday during the press briefing, and of course, across our various government departments. We've shared our vision, answered questions, and walked through the details. We've talked about what this reform means, why it matters, and how we intend to make it work. After all that talking, after all those meetings, the planning, and the years of preparation that have gone into shaping this initiative, today, we're finally here. Today marks the official launch of the Detection Sector Reform Program, or the DSRP, as I hope we will all colloquially begin to call it, the initiative that will reshape the way detention operates in St. Martin, and more importantly, the way justice is lived and experienced in our country. This is not an overnight achievement. It is the result of years of work, of technical assessments, design, policy planning, and most importantly, collaboration. It is built on the voices of those who live in this reality every day, from our detention officers, our justice workers, and our community. It is also the outcome of close cooperation with our colleagues within the Ministry of BZK, the NRPB, and our international partners such as UNOPS and ONODC, who have brought and will continue to bring invaluable expertise to this process. I also want to acknowledge the United Nations delegation who have traveled from far to be here with us today. Vera, I already know you got a shout out, but I'll do so again, and your team. And of course, Mr. Giuseppe Mancinelli, who I just met and will get to know better over the next coming days as well, UNOPS's Deputy Director for the Latin American and Caribbean region. And I think all of your presence here today speaks strength to this partnership and our shared commitment to this reform. To my colleagues at the Council of Ministers, thank you for your continued support and your engagement. This is our reform. It's our national effort built on collective leadership and shared responsibility. And I trust that it will serve as the foundation for many more reforms to come. To the men and women who work across the detention chain, from pre-trial to post-detention, thank you. You continue to show up under challenging circumstances, not just as guards or administrators, but as protectors of safety, order, and dignity. Your commitment has kept the system standing, and your feedback has helped and will continue to help and shape this reform. The DSRP is about progress that lasts. It will not happen overnight, and it will not happen without challenges, but it is happening step by step. With UNOPS, we will see the construction of a modern, state-of-the-art, and humane detention facility that meets the highest international standards and provides a safe environment for both inmates and our staff. The facility will double the current capacity, approximately 86 currently, and include spaces for education, healthcare, mental health, vocational training, family visits and recreation, and it reflects a holistic and human-centered approach to rehabilitation. This is a major national investment, $52 million, but that's been jointly financed by the government of St. Martin and the Ministry of BZK. The construction is scheduled to begin in early 2026 and will take approximately 3 years to complete. At the same time, UNODC's work has already begun, because we cannot and we will not wait for a new facility in order to start transforming the lives of our staff and our inmates. Their team is already working alongside our justice professionals to strengthen leadership, improve training, and build programs that prepare people to return to society with skills, confidence, and purpose. This reform is locally owned, it's locally led, and designed for the people of St. Martin. It represents what is possible when we take ownership of our challenges and use partnerships to strengthen but not replace our leadership. For our prison staff, it means safer working conditions, better training, and an environment that supports their professionalism and their well-being. For those in custody, it means dignity, structure, and the chance to rebuild their lives. And for our community, it means a safer St. Martin, where rehabilitation reduces reoffending, families are strengthened, and justice becomes a path to stability and not one of division. The DSRP is more than a construction project. It reflects our commitment to fairness, second chances, and institutions that represent our values. As we move forward, let us keep that belief at the heart of this process. Let us continue working together, government, partners, and community, to build a justice system that protects, empowers, and restores. This is not just the start of a program, it is the start of a new standard for St. Martin, one rooted in dignity, strengthened by collaboration, and sustained by the belief that justice can be both firm and fair. To everyone who has played a role in getting us here so far, thank you. I want to say I've just picked up the torch and carried on this process, but I also very much acknowledge the years and years that have gone into this before me by my predecessors as well, and it would be remiss to me to not acknowledge that. But I want to say that the real work now continues, and I know that we have a long road ahead of us, and I will continue to fight and support this project, and I want to thank everybody in this room for your continued support to justice and for your continued support and belief in second chances and rebuilding our communities. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Minister, once more, and especially the highlight of the acknowledgement that this is a program that has been worked on for a number of years, not only by the partners that we are going to introduce just now, and they would, of course, continue to help with this program, but we definitely acknowledge the fact that the justice reform or the justice detention sector program has been ongoing because we have, for instance, the director of our prison here present, but also his management team, some staff members present, but also from the ministry themselves, the Secretary General, some policy workers, and some former workers from the ministry that has actually started this ball rolling. So we acknowledge your efforts, your input with also the other members of the justice chain. A lot of times we don't recognize that we cannot do it alone, not the prison alone, but also the police department and all other departments within the Ministry of Justice. And later on in the presentation, you would hear that also the other stakeholders, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Healthcare, and so on, we are all needed on board to make this a successful program because the ownership is of the community and the people of St. Martin. I have the honor of being the program manager of this program, and so I would present to you the goals of the program and later on also introduce the different partners that will play a pivotal role in rolling out this program. The Detention Sector Reform Program is a national initiative. It's carried by the Ministry of Justice. It's a comprehensive approach, and the intention is to strengthen the entire detention chain from pre-trial detention, so from the moment somebody is picked up until the person goes through the whole process to the end, rehabilitation, post-detention programs to be put in place. And it integrates multiple projects under one framework. So you have to see it as an umbrella program, and the different elements of the program, different projects, will be introduced to you shortly. The program has comprehensive goals. It's to create a detention sector that is fair, humane, and sustainable. And sustainable is indeed something we want to emphasize in everything that we do. So it's improving the conditions and aligning with international standards, hence the collaboration also with the United Nations. We're going to enhance the rehabilitation and the reintegration programs because the inmates remain a part of our community and our society. They're our brothers and our sisters, our cousins, our uncles, we know, in this small society. And the intention is also to strengthen the institutional capacity and staff development. We cannot do that without people. All the programs that we're going to roll out, we need all hands on deck. To build, yes, a modern infrastructure that support long-term sustainability. And how that looks will be presented to you. it's good to always have a backup. Our program partners, again, is a joint venture. We have, of course, leadership on the Ministry of Justice, but as mentioned before, all different departments and ministries of the government of St. Martin are involved in this. We have the BZK, as you call it, Ministry of Interior Affairs and Kingdom Relations, and we have the UNOPS and the UNODC. They represent themselves just now, and also the NRPB. And it's important to mention here that the NRPB, the National Recovery Program Bureau, is that under their B mandate, so it's totally separate from the trust fund element that is known to the general public until now. This is a separate program where the National Recovery Program Bureau offers the program management element of the program. And with that said, I would please like to ask the representative of the UNOPS to come forward to give a presentation of their segment of the program.
Before that, just a proper introduction of UNOPS. UNOPS is, I would call, the operative arm of the United Nations. We were created 30 years ago with a specific mandate on infrastructure, rightly, program management and procurement. So we help our partners in improving their implementation capacity through the high-quality project. And the ministers made a reference to the state-of-the-art modern facility. This is what we expect to have over the next months as well. But we are also mindful of the responsibility that we have of the stewardship of the financial resources. This is a big investment, and thanks to the donors, to the Netherlands and the government of St. Martin to make those funds available for the construction. So mindful of that, of course, we will try our best in terms of the efficiency, transparency of the process itself. And this is, of course, goes along different kind of steps of the process. Just to remind us all regarding the process, we were entrusted, and thanks for the trust, of course, to start with the project, the Rule of Law Facility, back in 2022. After that, we signed a framework agreement between UNOPS, the Netherlands, and St. Martin in 2023. Since then, we have worked in completing the design, and also thanks to our colleagues of UNODC for the soft component as well in a few months ago. So now we are ready to start. Okay, everybody, I think, is expecting to see some movements on the ground and what we expect to do over the next months. So this is what it looked like. You can see it's a very modern facility. We have embedded the highest international standards in terms of resiliency as well. This is part of what we do. We will embed human rights approach. We have followed the Mandela rules. This is very important because we have to respect the dignity, exactly the humane detention as well. So this is what we pretend to do. Of course, as the minister already mentioned, there will be a lot of facilities as well. We want this really to work, and we know that there is a lot of interest in doubling the capacity, and so this is exactly what the infrastructure looks like, and it's gonna function as well. You can see on the back, that's the administrative part. But of course, the idea is that there can be separate environments that the prison can work easily without interrupting any kind of activities that are around. So that's how it will look like. Now, in terms of the timeline, we have few days ago signed the contract for the supervision, so we're ready for that. We will be signing over the next days the construction company. I think representative of the consortium are present here, so I would like to thank them as well for the responsibility they will take on. And over the next months, meaning November and December, we will start with the mobilization of the contractor and the consultant. So meaning that you will start seeing some actions, okay? But the real action will start in January, okay? We are mindful that we have to start as soon as possible, those are the preparatory kind of works that are needed in order to have the proper conditions for the work. So we are there. The next one. Okay, so what is ahead of us? We have seen 2 stages overall for the 36 months construction. The first one is the construction of stage 1. Okay, so this is going to last 18 months, and this is where we pretend to start building around the current facility the initial parts of the future prison. After the 11 months, we will start with the relocation of the inmates. So we have to really be mindful again that this is a complex project because we are not thinking about a separate one, but we have to think about something which is surrounding the current facility. So we have to prepare the relocation of the inmates in between the 2 stages. The second one will be the demolition of the current facility, the construction of the second stage. And this is going to last 12 months. So if we sum up, more or less, we end up with the contingency and everything, more or less around 36 months. A very important element of that will be the training and handover prison. This is a very modern facility, so it is very important that we start preparing the conditions for the handover of the facility to the authorities. Of course, this is not going to start the very last day. We have to start thinking about this since the very beginning because this is a big responsibility that we have. So we have to make sure that all the conditions are met and that the authorities are ready to manage and take over of the new facility. So this is a very important component. And of course, as for every kind of infrastructure project, we have the defect liability period for 12 months, meaning that UNOPS will be there in case something happens, of course, but this is this mandatory defect liability period as well. The next one. Okay, this also is a component that we have. We call it advisory service. This is something which is also very important to us. Of course, we will be focusing on the construction itself, but this component is very important because we will be advising the Ministry and the Cabinet on the rule of law, the detention, the public safety reform. We understand this is part of the detention reform sector program, so those elements are very important. We have the experts here to support. Also regarding the mobilization of partner programs, they provide the technical assistance for the strengthening of the capacity as well. The mobilization is important because there will be a lot of stakeholders present as well, so we have to make sure that everything flows correctly. The local ownership, Minister, you mentioned it. This is very, very important for us because at the end, we will leave, but it is important that there's the full ownership since the day one of that, because otherwise that's not going to work. And I have to say that I'm very happy to be here because I see probably all the stakeholders who are present here. That really gives the importance, the relevance of the project. So we have established the project boards, the governing mechanism, which are very important. And we hope that will really work smoothly because that's going to be part of the success, of course, of the project. And so that's it. Before handing over, and I'll finish here, just one final word. You are all aware that of the UN 80 reform. You know that the United Nations is undergoing a serious reform. So I would like to phrase the fact that UNOPS and UNODC are collaborating together. I think this is a very important example of how the UN can work together. Of course, it's just 2 agencies, but of course this is just the beginning of what we would like to do, because we can see there are complementarities. I was talking to Shane and Wenber as well. That for us is very important. It's not just UNOPS, it's not just UNODC. This is the United Nations supporting the country. And we hope that we can have more examples on that, hopefully in St. Martin, but also in other countries as well. So thank you very much for being here. Thanks for the availability and for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here, and it's a very exciting moment because we are starting something very important. And I would like to use this opportunity and to express gratitude to the Prime Minister for putting this agenda for putting this issue very high on the political agenda. It's not in all countries where we could see it. And I would like to thank the Minister for her leadership in this very difficult and challenging time. We also have to be really grateful to the prison management, to the director, to the prison staff who work in a quite challenging situation. They are underfunded, they don't have the required financial and human resources, but at the same time they need to ensure safety and security in prison. We should not forget about the probation officers who are doing an excellent work. And again, their number is very limited, but the number of their clients continues to increase. And I think that is also very important because it's also, in addition to the political will, to the commitment of legal professionals, we also have the support of the community, because civil society organizations are very outspoken, and they actually make, again, politicians understand that what happens in prisons affects us all. It affects prisoners, prison staff, families. It actually affects the society and safety on the streets, because the majority of prisoners will come back to our communities. Today they are in prisons, and tomorrow they are our neighbors. So today I would like actually to tell you about the role that the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime is going to play in this important national initiative. So, and I would like to say why UNODC and what UNODC is going to do. So UNODC is a custodian, that's the term that we use. UNODC is supporting member states to actually remember about the forgotten population, about people who are behind the walls. And currently, UNODC provides policy support, technical assistance to more than 50 countries worldwide in order to improve legislation, prison conditions, and ensure that prisoners who are released come back and become law-abiding citizens. But it's very easy to say, but very difficult to do. We all know that prisons do not make people better, right? We all know about the criminal contamination in prisons. And we all know that prison authorities are not magicians who could do this, and they require leadership, empowerment, they require commitment and support of societies. But before we start any initiative, we really need to reflect, and I very quickly would like to give you a number of figures at the global level. So the situation at the global level is actually not very encouraging. The prison population continues to increase, and we currently have more than 11 million prisoners worldwide. 1/3 of these prisoners are actually on remand. They are waiting for the trial to happen. And again, sometimes it's months, sometimes it's years. If you look at the female prison population, it also continues to increase, and quite dramatically in different countries, in developed and developing countries. So again, the trends are not very positive, but at the same time, I think there is a moment now, and we see that more and more countries approach UNODC and ask to provide support with the reform of penal and prison system. And I think that is really great, and especially I think there is a political momentum that this year we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the United Nations minimum standard rules for the treatment of prisoners. And I think this is our motto, that what happens in prison matters and prisoners matters. And that's why we need to unite our efforts and work together in promoting the reforms. Because again, in order to build effective, humane, sustainable criminal justice system, it's impossible if the prisons are broken. So the UNODC role in this important national initiative is focusing on people. And yes, UNOPS is focusing on infrastructure, and it's extremely important, and infrastructure requires investment, a lot of investment. But people are those who are going to manage this facility, who are going to be accommodated in this facility. That is also the core. And as the minister has mentioned, infrastructure will take place, but we need to start now. We need to make sure that prisoners are engaged in constructive activities. We need to ensure that the workforce, the prison officers, get the required training, that their number is increased, that they have the required authority in order to ensure safety and security in prisons. We need to ensure that there is also a long-term planning, which will require the revision of the existing legislation, development of new standard operating procedures, the improvement of prison conditions, as well as contributing to the public safety. Because again, there is, and this is the word that we use during this week quite often, there is kind of a revolving door. Unfortunately, sometimes it's a vicious circle. People go into prison, get out, there is no proper social support, and they are coming back. And again, in order to prevent that and to break this cycle, there should be concrete steps that needs to be undertaken. In addition to that, and it was already mentioned by Giuseppe, that there's going to be a transition from the old facility to the new facility. And it's going to be quite a challenging 12 months, and the prisoners and prison staff have to be well prepared for this. And this is where we began. DC and UNOPS are going to work jointly with the Ministry of Justice, with the prison authorities, to first of all to ensure that there are no disturbances in prisons, to ensure that they're all informed about the time frame and about what's going to happen when they're going to be moved to the new facility. Last but not least, it's the regional cooperation, because I think this is also very important to share knowledge and skills with different countries in the region and beyond. And that is also what's included in the project proposal. In conclusion, I'd like to say that expectations are very high, and it's going to be quite a challenging journey. And we understand that it will require the commitment of all the international partners as well as the local ownership of the Ministry of Justice. And UNODC stands ready to implement that. We have done the assessment mission in April this year. And today we are jointly with the Ministry of Justice here at the opening of this new initiative. And since it's such a challenging initiative, UNODC has managed to arrange a group of experts as well as a team lead. And I would like to use this opportunity and to introduce the UNODC program officer, Rafael Barreto Souza, who is going to lead this project in the next 4 years. So let me conclude by saying that UNODC is committed, and we are very grateful for your trust, and we are looking forward to our cooperation. Thank you.
And these are the partners then in this comprehensive program. As it was stated before, while we have been in the planning phase for many years here on St. Martin, within the Ministry of Justice, within the prison system, BZK colleagues, NRPB colleagues, all have been working, but we are here now ready to launch and roll out the implementation of the program, and ready to do that together. And that's an important element. It is one program. We have sat together in indicating that we have a steering committee of which the Minister of Justice herself is a member, to ensure that the policy, the vision of the ministry is also adhered to, and the mission of the ministry is rolled out, that there is consistent communication between the partners pertaining to the priorities that would be set by the minister. So it's one program, one vision, strengthening the justice system for St. Martin, and it reforms that into a modern, sustainable, and human-centered program. And we're going to build on partnership, as we indicated before. And while we have different partners registered there, it is important to also emphasize again, this is our program for the community of St. Martin, for the people of St. Martin, for the people of St. Martin, so we need all hands on deck. Yes, the stakeholders, we started some meetings with them already this week, and we will continue to do so over the entire course of the program.